Hello, welcome to my home. This Tambour file cabinet, I made it a few years back and it features a number of details that I think you'll find interesting, beginning with the veneered surface over the tambour, all the way through to the gilded decoration at the back that I'll show you at the end of this video. So stay tuned and I'll show you all the details, including the inside. So this piece is an interpretation of the traditional file cabinets you find all the way across Europe, particularly in the 19th century, all the way up to the early 20th century. And these are always made in the same way. So you have a carcass that could be frame and panel, or later on it could be plywood or other man-made materials. And at the front you find this tambour door, which would never be decorated the way it is here. Actually, this was quite a functional piece meant to be in office environments, so they would never be so highly decorated. Very often they were made of oak, and sometimes beech or other materials, but nothing fancy, nothing special. And of course you would never find veneered decoration or this kind of thing. But the most interesting feature of this construction is the tambour door itself, because it needs to be locked with a key. This belongs to an era where information was protected by keys and not by passwords. And of course we need to have the key here at the top where it is most accessible, okay? And that forces the tambour to be rolled from top to bottom as it is opened in this way. Okay. Now the big question is, where does the tambour go when you open it? And it doesn't roll around the back as many of us would naturally expect. It's actually rolled into a spiral compartment at the footing of the piece. So if I remove the drawers, you will see and this is why you always find in this type of cabinets such a large area here, where apparently nothing happens. And of course this is disguised by the presence of the plinth, which is not only for strength but also decorative, because it breaks all this height in two parts. And this one was made with secret mitre dovetails, so it's never going to come off. And that was a nice exercise. By the way, I recorded every single detail about this build for educational purposes, and you will find it in my YouTube Advanced membership. So if you're interested in knowing how all of this is made, you will find hours and hours of content about this and about many other projects as well. So I hope to see you there. And please don't forget to like and subscribe this video if you're finding it interesting. Let's continue with the veneer here. So the veneer is inspired in Art Nouveau motif from Gaspar Omar, a Catalan furniture maker of the early 20th century. And the main challenge of this was to get the veneer pattern to flow uninterrupted through the tambour slats. Now, how we made this, that's a little bit complex to explain, but in a nutshell, we put all the slats together and locked them in such a way that they could be considered a continuous surface. Then we could veneer this continuous surface, and all the slats would be attached to one continuous piece of marquetry. Then Beatriz Zuazo, which is a dexterous craftswoman, she would cut the veneer exactly where it had to be to get every slat free again. And finally, it's all put back together exactly in the same position and glued to a cloth backing, which is what holds everything in place. I hope that makes sense. It's quite complex. If you want more information, you'll find that in the advanced membership. The timber is domestic cherry, European cherry, that I milled myself. I bought the log and literally I milled it myself in my own sawmill and let it dry, and a few years later I could use it for this. And the whole structure, as you can see, is in a frame and panel form, as would be most usual if we're dealing with solid timber for this sort of design. There's something interesting about these side panels though. If I put it against the light, I think you can see this central component, this tile here, has some curves in it, and the panels echo these curves. This is a barely noticeable detail, but it was a first experiment to try and figure out how to introduce curves in frame and panel work. And this is something that has been done extensively in my tradition, especially in the early 20th century, in the Art Nouveau period. And it's something that I always wanted to explore, and I never found detailed instructions on how to effect this properly. So I figured out a method that works for me, that works I think very well, and I'm very happy to tell you that I will be teaching a short course, a 4-day course in the London International Woodworking Festival about this subject, how to create curved frame and panels. Let's continue with the back. So at the back we find this gilded pattern, which is exactly the same pattern than at the front. And this makes this piece a middle of the room piece, only if you want to, of course, or you can hide this against a wall. But in any case, I wanted to figure out how gilding is done, so I did some of my research and I tried it, and I'm happy with the result. Although I'm not a professional gilder. Gilding is a very complex subject, it's a trade on its own, and I just managed to do it in a successful way, at least for once. So let's discuss the interior. These are hanging drawers, as you can see, and they have stops here, so they will never fall on the floor. And these are made from tapered dowels, and this is a constructive detail very common in French furniture. So these dowels act, of course, against the style, and when you remove them, you get the drawer loose. You can see here the dovetail construction, the grooves for the runners, and every drawer was made to fit exactly its opening, just in case there were any small variations, and so they are all numbered here. As you can see, the fronts are relieved for easier access, and they have these curves with a finger recess here and more curves on the side, and this is all an excuse for template routing. And I did my best to achieve a fine, easy fit that will work all year round without complications. All in all, this is a fairly complex piece. It was lots of fun to make, and I enjoyed it very much. I had the great help of Beatriz Zuazo, the great marketeer, and Chenia Garrofé, who actually made the original drawings for this piece. And it's been lots of fun, and I hope you'll get some ideas to apply in your own projects.